I am Jessica Delmar, and this is Soulverse, a podcast sharing open knowledge of the soul and offering navigation during this transformative and powerfully shifting time in our planet's consciousness. Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here. I am Jessica Delmar. In this episode, we're going to continue what we've been talking about regarding the constructs of our society and our reality in 3D and now shifting into 5D. So this is part 3. If you have not yet listened to part 1 and part 2, go ahead and listen to the first 2 parts because that will explain everything up until part 3 this episode. In this episode, we are going to be breaking down the 4 pillars that create our construct of society within 3D and 5D. In part 1 and part 2, we spoke about how these 4 pillars were basically religion, healthcare, education, and government or politics. This also includes the connection of our within and our without. But it's so different between 3D and 5D. 3D is very much based upon duality and the separation of dark and light, and also the separation of these 4 pillars. But now we're flipping over the coin, and as these pillars begin to crumble within the 3D construct of rule, we begin to now have a space to open, to birth, to construct, and to create our new 5D construct of thought. So the 5D construct of thought still kind of revolves around these 4 pillars, but the 4 pillars in 3D shift into new higher vibrational pillars in 5D. And that shift includes the shift from religion into spirituality, the shift from healthcare into well-being, the shift from the 3D educational system into a 5D educational system, more in alignment with supporting these free thinkers, and the shift from government or politics into higher vibrational leadership. The within and the without is no longer separate, but is the basis of this 5D construct of thought in order to create the 5D reality that we exist within. But also the within and without, because they're merged now as within so without, the shadow and the light both participate together. They dance together. They find a unity within each other, a harmony, a balance, like the yin and the yang. And within that recognition of both shadow and light, within and without, you're able to use that to your advantage to birth and create expansion. So let's talk about the shifts of energy between 3D and 5D. It's interesting because in this information, the other thing that came through spoke a lot about money and the shift of money. I ask that you don't hold on too tightly to it. Again, information is open to change. A lot of information that comes through in the knowing, especially in people knowing it in your conscious minds. And if you put energy into shifting, it can definitely happen. It can definitely shift the energy. And that's why I don't get too caught up in future events or future unfolding, but rather focus more on staying in the now moment and just opening these things in your awareness as open possibilities. What came through regarding government in 3D is that the political system is our form of leadership in the 3D construct of rule. But just like all the 4 pillars within the 3D construct of rule, like we spoke about in part 1 and part 2, the blood of the 3D construct of rule, including within the political system, is made up of money as the forefront of how it runs. Therefore, it led me into this sort of opening up of maybe a new type of monetary system, more in alignment with gold and a gold standard, which will shift our monetary systems, basically. Nothing in the immediate future, something a little bit longer term, but something to keep in mind. What came through is gold is financially stable and investable. Gold will be abundant on your planet and is a natural gift from Gaia. It will be made easily available in every region and will stabilize the world economy. People who do not have much money will not be able to afford gold, but gold gives a fighting chance for everyone to acquire more wealth. Those who are financially ruined or may not be as financially stable will be supported by those with gained wealth looking to give back to those in need. Solutions will be more readily available. I asked, so the political system has a lot to do with the change in the financial system? And what came through is yes, because the political system currently determines wealth in a country. Open wealth in a country means the government is wealthy. But the government or the political system is a pillar of the greater 3D construct of rule. So the government is wealthy, but not sovereign, and the people are wealthy, but not sovereign. You may think you are free in a free country, but you are not free if your freedom is ruled by money. Money is the blood and backbone of your 3D construct of rule. It is entangled within every pillar of your society. It has its grasp and hold on and within everything. You are simply the body at mercy to your blood because it is your blood that keeps you alive. In 5D, your servitude towards your blood is not an imbalanced relationship as it is in 3D. In 5D, your blood happily serves you, the body, in your experience, while also rejoicing that it is an integral, active, life-giving part of your experience. Gold supplied by Mother Gaia on a macro level is light supplied within the 5D body on a micro level. An abundance of light in the physical body opens an abundance of gold supplied by Gaia. And so the light of the body understands that it is in a symbiotic relationship with the physical form, and that when there is harmony in the body, there is life in alignment with highest good and well-being ensues. And so light in the body happily supports the blood and body, and gold upon Gaia will happily serve the people upon Gaia, and a life flow energy exchange ensues, creating a harmonious entanglement of abundance and well-being upon Gaia. The political system of 3D currently supports an energy exchange that is dependent on tainted money. What came through more specifically is the energy of greed. 5D supports an energy exchange that is dependent on wellness and abundance first, without limitations. And so a system must be generated to support this flow of energy. There will still be a form of government to help conduct order in your societies, but will not be about money first, but rather people first, as within, so without. Your 5D pillar of thought will be what governs the people, but not through outside influence or foundations of money and control, but rather through inner thought of people. 3D was about ruling from the outside in. 5D is about leading from the inside out. When money is not the source of control, there is more room for real, solution-based leadership, not controlled by those wealthy or in power, but by the people themselves. Well-being begins from the inside, at the smallest cellular level, and ripples outward. So will your 5D society, and your government and political systems will consist of leaders who support the people. The next thing that came through is the pillar of healthcare, and in 5D it turns into the pillar of well-being. This information is kind of already showing me the crumbling that's already happening with everything going on in the world today with our healthcare system, but also kind of what's coming into my awareness right now too is very much, again, going back to the blood of money that, and the role that money plays within the healthcare system too. It's all connected. The 5D construct opens well-being rather than trying to fix or solve a health issue, which is our current day 3D healthcare system. Blood is associated with healthcare because it is part of the body, but blood is an integral part of a system. It provides nourishment through the entire body, down to the smallest cells. In your physical body, the blood is absolute. It is the physical life force. On your greater planet body, blood takes the form of water. Water is life force to your planet. In your energetic systems that make up your society, war between opposing sides creates a rift of energy that enslaves your open collective to these limiting beliefs in which you view religion, healthcare, politics, and education. But the seed of war is like a blood clot. It prevents blood from flowing to integral parts of the body. It prevents integral parts of the body from receiving the greater messages that blood brings. And when those messages are cut off from the rest of the body stands still. The body cannot walk or run or explore or do anything because the blood opens oxygen to the brain, which tells the body what to do. And so, when there is a blood clot in the body, it endangers the entire body. War has been the blood clot of your collective body for many, many long years, and has stopped the flow of oxygen to your collective brain. The wave of energy that is the virus, that is housing everyone at home right now, is opening space for that blood clot to be helped back into flow. By people taking time away from each other and opening space between each other, it opens space in the collective mind and energy. And open space means it opens atmosphere for spirit to move through. Spirit cannot flow or gain traction when there is turmoil, but when there is peace or stillness, that is when spirit moves. And so, spirit has been working overtime within the collective mind to shift the flow of the collective blood so that very much war can turn to peace. Well-being in your collective energy and mind means well-being in your individual physical bodies, micro and macro. Why do you think sickness and illness within the population on your planet has risen? You each are like the cells of the greater body of your collective mind and body. And in an unwell mind and body are unwell cells of the body. You are part of a greater whole, and if you take care of the whole, then you take care of the micro aspects, which are you, the individuals within the whole. As the mind turns into well-being, then the cells reflect well-being of the mind. As the cells reflect well-being of the mind, the body then reflects the well-being of its internal state. As within, so without. When there is cancer in the body, cancerous cells multiply while also suffocating healthy cells. The shift from 3D healthcare into 5D wellness requires the removal of cancerous cells within your 3D collective body. Individuals on your planet, which are cells in the greater collective body, are being infected with the virus, whether physically or energetically, because the cancer is spreading in the greater body. Pandora's box has been opened. Up until now, the cancer of your collective body was in hiding, in the deepest shadows and corners unseen and unknown to the greater oblivious collective body. The only indication that it existed was the fear energy that seeped out of the cancerous tumors growing in the shadows. The energy of the cancerous tumors is fear, dispersed out into the body, mutating healthy cells into cancerous cells, therefore feeding more fear energy back into the greater cancerous tumor. And this is how cancer multiplies and feeds in the body. In your greater collective, fear and people contributed to the greater tumor of the collective body. I asked, what is the tumor in the collective body that the guides are speaking about? What came through is, the tumor in the collective body is the workings of darkness in your collective mind. The collective mind of 3D operates through duality, and so it very much identifies with the 3D mind, which identifies with duality and dark and light. And so to make the transition out of 3D and into 5D, one must be able to consciously shift one's viewpoint or perspective from duality into wholeness. With the current virus, it exposes the cancer in the collective body. It brings to light that a cancerous tumor exists in the collective body, in which the collective body was not aware of before. As the virus grows through the cells or your collective individuals, it exposes the cancer in the collective body more and more. Why this correlation? Because the virus is simply a manifestation of fear in your collective mind and body. The purpose of this manifestation is to uproot all of the shadows and dark corners of your collective mind and energy, because as long as there are shadows and dark corners in your collective mind and energy, there will be shadows and dark corners in your individual minds, bodies, and energies. A person can live with cancer without realizing it until the body begins to show symptoms. Your collective is simply showing the symptoms of the greater tumor hidden beneath the surface. I asked again, what is the tumor? What came through is, the tumor is the 3D construct of rule, which signals polarization, duality, separation, control, and fear. The 3D construct of rule does not vibrationally align with the 5D construct, and so with the increase of 5D energy into your 3D collective, through light workers and high-frequency energy waves, the tumors within your collective mind and energy have been forced out of their hiding places. Sometimes, when a tumor is operated on or disturbed, it can spread throughout the body more rapidly. This is what 5D energy did to your 3D tumors. It's not a bad thing, but the tumors needed to be disrupted in order to allow them to surface in your collective consciousness. As they surface in your collective consciousness, then they also surface as physical manifestations in your collective and individual bodies upon your planet. Now, let's also be clear here. The manifestation of the darkness, or what we're referring to as this sort of cancerous energy moving through the collective and individuals as cells of the greater collective body, is right now sort of seen as this virus going on. But it's not necessarily about the virus. So the virus can exist or not. I know that there's a lot of different viewpoints, but what we're looking at specifically is the energy behind the virus. So again, it doesn't matter if it's actually physically manifested or not. There's energy that is moving through the collective, and that is the energy of fear. It's the energy that, whether you're affected by the virus or not, there is an energy that can move through you, which is that of fear. And that energy of fear, whether it's fed from the media or whatever, that then feeds back to the source of the cancer, meaning the cancerous tumor that we're referring to in this sort of analogy. Everything is energy. How it physically manifests doesn't necessarily matter. When we're looking at the energy, that's what needs to shift. And that is what is either propelling us forward or shifting us into a new direction. And in this case, what may seem like it's propelling us forward, there's also many different energetic frequencies working all at the same time. So there's that energy of fear opening up, but there's also the energy of light opening up to, in a way, intersect the fear and shift into a new momentum of energy moving forward. I asked, are we in the end of days? And what came through is no, just simply in a transitioning of sorts. What happens when cancer overtakes a body? The body transitions into the non-physical. It dies. But by now, you should know that there is no death, but simply a transition from one into the next. What is happening to your collective body is not death, but rebirth. The body of the collective that we speak about is a vibrational web that connects every individual on the planet. And so the cancer that we speak about is not actual cancer, but a metaphor for the energy that is run rampant in the greater web of a body that you are connected to. As the collective body breaks down, you, each individuals as cells of the body, must make an important choice. Cancer mutates healthy cells into cancerous cells, but it is only because the cell cannot defend itself with light. The mind tells the body what to do and how to be, but your collective mind has been hijacked by the very villains who created the cancer in the collective body to begin with. And so, this is the age of enlightenment, yes, but more so, this is the age of sovereignty, meaning that your mind is no longer dictated by the mind of your 3D collective ridden in fear and cancerous cells. Your mind is sovereign to your energy and spirit, which is a sovereign fractal of Source itself. Being plugged into your 3D collective mind quit the sovereign thoughts and hooked you up to unsovereign thoughts constructed by your 3D system of rule, meaning the 3D construct that we were talking about, which bled into politics, religion, healthcare, and education. For those still hooked up into this 3D construct of rule, you will be nourished through fear, and you, as a cell to the greater collective body, will transform into a mutated cell. But if you can find sovereignty in your mind, you will not resist the cell mutation, but you will transmute the energy of the mutation into energy of enlightenment, so that you as a cell to the greater collective body will not open mutation, but you will open light. However, there will not be a struggle between light and dark, but rather an open allowance of free falling. This is because the collective body must perish. Again, the collective body we speak about is the energetic network that connects all individuals upon your planet. The free fall allows the body to fail, yes, but it allows the mind to succeed. Meaning, for those who are able to open light at this time, you will open a parachute into the 5D mind, which tethers your physical world into 5D vibration. And so, as your 3D collective body fails, you will open a strong big bang of rebirth into 5D. I asked, what does that look like? Will people die? And what came through is, some may die, but again, there is no death, just simply transition from one into the next. There is nothing to fear. For others, it will look like utter defeat, hopelessness, and despair. Many lightworkers have already found the rope in defeat through past shadow work. The time will come for you, lightworkers, to be the rope for others who will need it. So that's the information that came through about the healthcare shifting. It very much kind of just brought the focus into that micro and macro body and the energy that's happening there in the playing out, not only of the virus, but the playing out of all of the shadow and the darkness that needs to surface. So that plays into that greater kind of bleeding into the other pillars. It bleeds into other institutions such as money, but basically the dark and the shadow that really needs to surface at this time. There was a lot of information regarding the healthcare pillar because that's sort of the crumbling of energy that we're going through right now. The next two pillars, there's not a lot of information that came through because we're not there yet, but as we near the crumbling of those two pillars, it's possible more information will come through. So the next pillar is the religion pillar, which shifts into spirituality in the 5D construct. 5D opens spirituality and the dissolving of walls between religions. Spirituality is not a specific religion or a label of thinking as some would think in current day, as the term spirituality intersects some sectors of thought such as Buddhism, Hinduism, other Eastern philosophies, and even branches out into sectors and practices of yoga, meditation, herbalism, etc., etc. Basically, the term spirituality in our 3D thought or 3D construct is still divided and separate from the true meaning of spirituality. Spirituality in 5D is open thought and open heart. That is all that is needed for the human being to evolve into a spiritual being. A spiritual being is not one that practices yoga or meditation or lives a vegan lifestyle, lives creatively or through inspiration or such and such and such. All of those things define you as a person, but a spiritual being is one whose spirit has entered form. Therefore, every single person on your planet is a spiritual being at the core of who they are. The disconnection is that many people do not recognize that spirit aspect of them. They see flesh and body and bone, and that is who they think they are. Their eyes do not sense the spirit that houses the body, but rather the eyes only see the body that exists in spirit. Yes, spirit does not exist in the body, but feeds the body to give it life. When you disconnect from spirit, you disconnect from your life force energy, and therefore you feel disconnected from the all. Spirit is your connection to who you truly are. Who you truly are is not a vegan or a yogi or a scientist or a teacher, but who you truly are is non-physical energy having a physical experience. There are no labels needed, no discrimination upon how each spirit chooses to experience their physicalness, and there is no wall that separates your decisions, choices, or beliefs. Religion created walls that put people into boxes, separated them from who they truly were, and segmented them into your society through beliefs, actions, and thoughts. Spirituality takes down those walls and opens the floor for all to be welcomed to experience dance, the movement of dance, in the way that you would like to uniquely experience the movement of dance. And the last pillar is education, which shifts into a more educational support for the unique thought and mind of individuals in 5D. And what came through is that the 5D educational system supports the students through free thought and holistic mind care. It includes basic fundamentals of growth and learning, but it's targeted with the growth of the child's mind or the student's mind. Meaning, especially for children, when the child begins to understand what they want, then they are supported in that growth. For example, if that child or student at some point knew that they wanted to grow up to be a doctor, then the educational system, or rather educational support system in 5D, would help to nurture that student or child's form of expression or desire to express and learn. If a child or student does not know what they want, then they are supported in a holistic way. Much like you would support your body through holistic medicine to treat the entire system as one without discrimination, so would the educational system in 5D support the child or the student's growth. And that's what came through for the educational pillar. Again, as more of that kind of unfolds in our reality, then I'm sure more information will come through to help guide us more through understanding that. And finally, light workers, as your 3D construct of rule crumbles to ashes, you will be the embers that spark the phoenix to rebirth. You have worked your whole life, lifetimes even, for this moment, and your work was not for nothing. Hold steady during these times of energetic crumbling, and you will open a new pillar of hope for the weary. Another thing I want to bring forward is this whole shifting of thought from 3D into 5D, the crumbling of the constructs of 3D, and the birthing and building of the pillars of the 5D construct, and how for a lot of light workers, a lot of people on this ascension journey, you've been working to shift your mindset. Many of you have been working for years to integrate this new form of thought. But for a lot of people who are unawakened and unconscious at this moment, and who still exist within the 3D construct, because things are starting to happen more rapidly, the shift of that consciousness is going to be more of a rapid shift for a lot of people. For a lot of light workers, you've had time to prepare for all of these shifts in our reality and our construct, shifts in the paradigm. And that is a blessing that a lot of people will not be able to go through or integrate at this time, again, because of the rapid changes and shifts taking place. And so it's really up to you as light workers to hold that space for a lot of people who this shift may not be as easy on, because for the mind in 3D to get to a place to open into integrating the mind of 5D, that shift is so powerful that a lot of people it's incomprehensible. They can't even go there where they are right now. And this is, even just to basic things such as opening a person's mind to seeing truths beyond, for example, what the media is showing you. People do not want to see it if they are still within the 3D construct. A lot of them will refuse to see it because it stretches their mind into places that they don't even want to go. And so there's a lot of that subconscious resistance to stepping out of the box. And so for a lot of people, it is going to be a push and a pull, like rubber band energy of getting those consciousness shifts to be made. But this is why you are here as light workers, to help hold the space for a lot of people who will be going through this difficult time of shifting in their consciousness. And that's what came through regarding these pillars of construct in 3D and the shifting into the pillars of thought in 5D. And basically bringing into our awareness what's going on right now, and maybe what's to expected as some of these pillars start to crumble and are crumbling around us. But as long as we hold in our awareness where we are moving into and shifting into 5D, then it helps to open up more of that trust in the unfolding. It helps to open up more of the trust of our divine inner guidance to lead us to where it is that we need to go. And again, this is not to open any fear within people, just awareness, so that you can hold and continue to hold that light within you as a powerful light worker during this time. Because as you hold light, you're not only holding it for yourself, but you're holding it for so many other people out there who really, really need it, especially during these times. Thank you everyone for listening in. Know that you are an extension of Source, having a physical experience. So in everything that you do, do with love, an open heart, and an open mind. And you'll realize the greater experiences held between the lines of your reality and now moment. Hey guys, so all the relevant links spoken about in today's episode is going to be in the show's notes. You can also find all relevant show links on my website at jessicadelmar.com/podcast. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment or email me with your questions. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast to stay up to date, and I'll see you in the next episode.